We at GQR aim to contribute to the understanding as well as the practice of governance, because we firmly believe that this enhances economic and social trust, which play a critical role in determining the investment and development outcomes of our markets. Given the perennial disruptive risks that Africa has faced, how resilient did corporate Africa prove to be in dealing with COVID-19? Firstly, in the African context, how foreseeable was another pandemic, and how prepared was corporate Africa? Secondly, what were the corporate, industry, and country successes and constraints that you observed in the Africa response? And what lessons have you learned? And thirdly, what are the risks and opportunities for Africa's post-COVID-19 recovery? And how can corporate Africa be better prepared for the next disruptive event? Our third respondent is Lamin Manjang, who has served as CEO for Standard Chartered Bank for both East Africa and West Africa. And so he shares with us here a Pan-African view from Nigeria, where he is currently based. Lamin has a view that's slightly different from the views of our two previous respondents.
Prior to the advent of COVID-19, Africa obviously had to face a number of health challenges in the past. Of course, in Africa, we have had to deal with malaria for a very long period of time. We have had the challenge of HIV/AIDS, and more recently, we had the challenge with Ebola, which obviously hit West Africa a few years back. Now, as a result of, say, Ebola in West Africa, governments in the region had to respond in appropriate ways. Borders were controlled in terms of access to, look at the flow of people across borders. Measures were put in place at border points. Checks were put in place. There was also a lot of investment in infrastructure, health infrastructure, to be able to deal with Ebola cases. We also had a massive health awareness campaign so that people are aware of what causes Ebola, how they can prevent themselves from getting Ebola, etc. So I think for Africa, that experience that we have had in the past prepared us well in terms of being ready for COVID-19 when it hit our shores. Our governments were able to put in the same measures that were put in place during the Ebola crisis. And as a result of that, we have seen Africa fare relatively better than other regions in terms of handling the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, during previous health crises as well, corporate Africa played a key role in terms of partnering with the government, partnering with other partners. I think corporate Africa realized that government cannot do it all by itself, and therefore we also had a role to play. So whether it was investing in health infrastructure, helping in terms of training and awareness campaign, all of these were interventions that corporate Africa together with government and NGOs collaborated so that we were able to deal with these health challenges.
We have now examined question 1 in parts 1 to 3 from the perspective of 3 different business leaders. Could we have done better, given the past experiences with the Ebola threat, and the fact that for the past several years there had been plenty of discussion and debate about the legitimate concern of another global pandemic? One might argue that corporate Africa perhaps could have, and maybe even should have, been better prepared.